Alright guys, welcome back to another episode here on Grow the Earth. I'm Tommy, and today we're out here in the garden, of course. But before we get started, I want to tell you that if you're watching my videos and you want to see some little short clips, if you want to see some short tips and tricks, I'm on a lot of other social media platforms. I've got a Facebook group where you can go there and actually ask questions and have them answered, not only by me, but by other gardeners that are all over the country. I'm on TikTok to where I'm posting short videos there. We're on Instagram where I've got short videos and pictures there. And if you don't like any of that and you want to see what's on the TikTok and also what is on the YouTube channel, you can subscribe to my Rumble channel. So guys, we've got a ton of different information that's going out in different places. So, go and subscribe to those channels. Right here along the bottom, I'm going to put, the different places that I've got media to where you can go there and you can subscribe, you can become a part of the group, and you can get the information you need about your garden. Today, guys, we're going to be planting cauliflower, and we're going to go over a couple of things before we get to actually putting this stuff in the ground. Now, we've got ours in a little bag because we actually bought ours from a local organic store. But, wherever you get yours from, usually there's a planting guide on the back of that. And here in our garden, we don't necessarily follow that a whole lot. Because we found that most of the planting guides that are on the back of a pack of seeds are relatively inaccurate because they were put on there and they are using farming methods from huge farmers who are planting thousands of acres, who have to have equipment going down in between them and so forth like that. Well, we're not using any equipment in our small little garden here in the subdivision, so we don't need to have that extra space for tires and heavy equipment to go down in between. So we've got roughly the other half of this bed. We planted our cabbage on this half of the bed, and we're going to plant our cauliflower on the other side of the bed, which means we have the other half of this 20-foot bed, which is roughly another 30 square foot. And in that 30 square foot, we're going to get 10 cauliflower. Now, that would seem entirely too compact, but we're going to use a different method of spacing. Instead of marking out a square foot, we're actually going to zigzag our planting spots going down the bed, which gives us more space in between the plants and allows us to put more into a smaller area. If you hadn't noticed, that's kind of a theme of our garden, is we're trying to use every available inch to grow more food and to be able to really push the limits of what we can get out of our small garden here. So one of the first things we need to talk about is plant depth, because as you can see, these little guys are kind of small. I mean, those guys are very, very small. So much like our cabbage, we're not going to be planting these guys very deep at all. So this comes into where we need to make sure that these seeds stay moist, because again, these are activated by moisture. So luckily, it looks like we have rain and clouds in the next week. So that means that our watering, and some of it's going to be done by God and some of it's going to be done by us. And we ought to be able to keep this bed fairly moist to where we don't have to worry about the sun coming in blazing and drying it out. So if you don't have that kind of weather and you're looking at a lot of sunshine, you've got to either cover your beds with some sort of a shade cloth. You got to water morning and evening, but the watering morning and evening may not even be enough to save these plants and let them germinate, because once they dry out, they'll perish, they'll die. They will not germinate. So, like I said, luckily we've got some weather coming in the next week to where I believe that we're going to have enough shade from the clouds, and we're going to have enough rain that we're probably not going to have to really water this a lot. But our usual schedule with this kind of weather is we're going to be able, I just come out and water in the morning, and it seems to keep everything moist. Usually towards the end of the day it starts to get a little dry on the top, but everything down below is still moist, so we're doing good. The other thing is, cauliflower are a very different plant from our broccoli. Cauliflower makes one head, which is literally a flower, hence the name cauliflower, and then the plant will not make any more heads. It makes one head, and that is all, and that is it. So whenever we start to get our heads, we need to make sure that we take care of that head, because if it gets pounded by a pest, that plant's done. Second is, once you cut the head off of that cauliflower, you're left with a plant. Now, you have a couple of different options. You can actually harvest the leaves and the stalks and treat them just like any other green, be it a mustard green or a collard green. They have a very good flavor. They do well in stir fries and things like that, soups and so forth. And actually there's more nutrition in the leaves and in the stalks than there is in the flower head that you're actually eating. So just a note for you that once they're done, you can go and pull them, harvest the rest of the plant, compost it, turn it into your bed, whatever is your plan for that. You know, if you have backyard chickens like we do, chickens love that kind of stuff. Throw them some of it too. Give them a little treat while you're at it. Now we're going to plant our seeds. All right, guys, so now we're going to plant our cauliflower seeds. And like I said, we are doing a zigzag pattern here, meaning there is going to be a plant here and here and there and there. And that is going to allow us to have about 1.5 feet of room around this plant, but we're not actually consuming that 1.5 feet of bed space, because the plant being offset, we actually get some gains by not having a square footprint. We actually have more of a rounded footprint that works out better for our bed spacing. So again, these guys are not going to go very deep at all. They're going to go about the same depth as our cabbage there. And we're just going to put one little seed in there, and we're going to do this all the way down. Of course, once we get through here and we get these seeds in, we're going to give this bed a good water. And another tip, if you happen to drop 2 seeds in here, don't worry about it. They actually will cohabitate in the same spot. They are not that worried about it. You know, there are some plants that don't do well being planted fairly close together like that. Cauliflower don't seem to mind too much. They actually, both plants will come up, both plants will grow. They'll actually start kind of separating and kind of making their own room, which is pretty nice if you happen to drop too many seeds in. One other note, whenever that plant starts to grow and you start getting that cauliflower head developing, there's going to be leaves that are going to be in kind of like a cup that are going to be surrounding it. And you may have to actually kind of pull those back to be able to see the head. Now, what will happen sometimes is those leaves will actually start to fold out to present that head, which is not going to hurt. It's not going to make the cauliflower develop wrong. It's not going to change the flavor. But what it will do is you won't get that stark white cauliflower like you're seeing in the stores. It will actually start to turn yellowish brownish. Now, if you want the stark white cauliflower like you see in the stores, what we need to do is those leaves that are surrounding that cabbage and kind of making a cup, we need to bind those leaves together to keep effectively that cauliflower in darkness. And that's going to give us that stark white cauliflower that we want, that we're used to seeing in the store. So guys, we're going to be giving this a good water while we're off camera. I just want to tell you guys to pray over your garden, pray over your family, and have a great day.